And we're back now with our roundtable, joined by our own Matthew Dowd, Roland Martin, host and managing editor of News One Now, E.J. Dionne, columnist from the Washington Post, and Republican strategist Sara Fagen, also CNBC contributor. Welcome to all of you. Matthew, let me begin with you. What a week. I think we say that just about every week. And we just heard, Donald Trump declared again and again this week he's not going to change. You just heard Senator Bob Corker, Republican, say he's going to have to. Who's right?
I mean, believe Donald Trump when he says it, because he hasn't changed in the course of this campaign. I'm fascinated by Donald Trump and been very successful in all this, but usually you see politicians grow as candidates or grow as leaders in the course of this. Donald Trump has stayed exactly the same he was when he came down the escalator and where he is today. He's the exact same person saying the same things. Been quite successful in winning the Republican nomination in the course of this. I think it's very problematic if he doesn't grow as a candidate and grow as a leader for the 45 or 50 million people that will ultimately decide this election.
Sarah?
Well, he hasn't grown as a candidate not only on the policy side, but on the political side. I mean, think about the fact that he spent 5 days in California over the course of the last 2 weeks. He's now the Republican nominee. This general election is going to be decided in Virginia, Ohio, and Florida, and he's spending time in a state that he doesn't need to be spending time in unless he's raising money.
He says he can win.
Well, the Los Angeles Times had Hillary Clinton up over 20 points on Donald Trump. I don't think California is going to be in Trump columns.
In Washington, D.C., they now can smoke marijuana. Republicans will need that in Congress if he continues doing what he's doing. At the end of the day, what you have a candidate who refuses to understand that people will now judge you based upon stature, based upon how you present yourself. And when Secretary Clinton hits him saying about his temperament, that simply raises more flags. And when what he's doing to this federal judge is beyond shameful. I don't see how independents will say, yeah, that's my guy.
And you saw E.J. Dionne, a chorus of Republicans coming out saying they can't condone what he said about Judge Curiel. But on the same day that he's making those charges, on the same day that Hillary Clinton's giving that speech about his temperament, Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, endorses Donald Trump.
I think he may have picked the worst day of the year. Some people speculated he's getting in the way of Hillary's speech. I think he had no idea how effective that would be, or that the very next day Ryan would have to say, oh, I'm for Trump, but I don't believe in what he's doing with that judge. I think this was a real turning point week because Hillary Clinton's attack on Trump laid out almost the entire case against him. In detail, she was calm, and she finally solved, or at least began solving, this authenticity problem. She's not really comfortable attacking Bernie Sanders. There's too much cost to that. But she believed every word she said about Donald Trump because he so offends her notion of what a president looks like. So I think that was a kind of twofer for her. And the Republicans knew it. It was shocking that Trump had nothing ready in response to that speech.
It was shocking because there is a great case to be made against Hillary Clinton and her foreign policy.
Well, and you heard Bob Corker making part of that.
Exactly.
Case.
Bob Corker just did it. Donald Trump should have given that response to her speech instead of talking about this judge and attacking this judge and putting all Republicans on the defensive against his comments.
But it's not shocking. It's not shocking. We're talking about the death of Muhammad Ali. What did he do against Sonny Liston? He attacked a bully. And when you attack a bully, what does Sonny Liston do? He quit. The bottom line is Republicans...
Hillary Clinton's not going to quit.
No, follow me here. Follow me. Republicans in the primary were afraid to go after the bully. They ran away from him. The smartest thing in the world is to hit him, and then when he said she lied, they went, nope, here are all the things you said.
Let me bring this question. Hold on a second. Let me bring this question to Matthew Dowd, because one of the things you're seeing, and you saw it in the Bob Corker interview there as well, you've seen it from Donald Trump. When they're asked about Donald Trump, they talk about Hillary Clinton. Is he going to need people out there making the affirmative case for his candidacy?
In any normal year, yes. But this is not a normal year in the course of this. I think part of the problem, and I think this is evidence of it, is most of people that are voting for Hillary Clinton right now are voting because they don't want Donald Trump. And most of the people that are voting for Donald Trump right now are voting for that because they don't want Hillary Clinton. So the negative case is what each side... Hillary Clinton's going to spend 80% of her time talking about why not Donald Trump. Donald Trump's going to spend 80% of his time talking about why not Hillary Clinton. again. That's the problem in this course of this election, is we have two candidates that are, we've talked about this before. It's as if somebody came to me and said, listen, you're going to move into a house and you get a roommate, but the roommate is somebody you don't like and don't trust, and you're going to have to move in and live with that person in the course of this. At some point, the voters are like, I'm going to sleep in my car. That's the choice in this course of the election. I think the biggest beneficiary this week from all the things that happened is Gary Johnson, the libertarian in the course of this. I think he and Bill Weld have an opportunity to get in a high enough percentage to get in a debate, and if they're in the debate, they're not going to win this election, but it could change the nature of the state.
And who does that help? Who does that hurt?
You know, in a normal election, the libertarian candidates hurt the Republicans. The question in this election is, does their vote get high enough that they start taking away votes from Hillary Clinton, from people who really, really hate Donald Trump but can't quite get to her. So I think the third-party candidates, and also there's the Green candidate, Jill Stein, which would draw from the Democrats. So I think there's a risk there. But here's the thing about what Republicans couldn't do with Trump that Clinton can. There are arguments she can make about immigration that Republicans were afraid to make in the primaries. And the most striking thing about her speech was this optimistic Reagan-esque view of America, you know, quoting Lincoln, last best hope on earth. Republicans have been selling an idea of decline for so long that it was very hard for them to make the argument she made in the primary, because some Republican, Jeb Bush perhaps, should have given the speech Hillary Clinton gave during the Republican primary.
Well, I think he did. I don't think it got, we didn't have the coverage that this speech obviously got. But look, Donald Trump does have some things going for him. You're going to have a segment next on the economy, and the economy is not good, and that is usually very beneficial to the party out of power. He has a record turnout. He has enthusiasm and a wide enthusiasm gap among Republicans in his favor. There are things going for Trump, but you're right. He has got to pivot, and he has to pivot quickly.
And Roland Martin, he still has a divided Democratic Party. Hillary Clinton had another victory in the Virgin Islands yesterday, probably going to do well in Puerto Rico today. Almost certainly he's going to have the pledged delegates, the delegates she needs by 8 p.m. on Tuesday night. So how does this end on the Democratic side? Is there a way to get Bernie Sanders out before the convention, or is he in all the way?
Well, first of all, Bernie Sanders, this is about leverage. You need to go back to 1988. Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. and Michael Dukakis. I know for a fact that Reverend Jackson has been trying to reach Bernie Sanders to have a conversation with him about how he should operate. When I interviewed Reverend Jackson on TV1, he said point blank, how Bernie behaves is critically important to what kind of leverage he has. Remember, Reverend, that's how you got proportional delegation. That's how you actually got an increase in superdelegates. That's how Ron Brown became chair of the DNC. So Senator Sanders does have leverage, but his behavior and how he responds over the next couple of months will determine whether the party listens to him or not. 88 is the blueprint for him.
I agree with Roland on this. I think this is much more contingent on Bernie Sanders than it is contingent on Hillary Clinton. Everybody knows she has the math. She's going to win the delegates. It's all there. Bernie Sanders does not, which he's put himself in this place, he does not want to be the populist candidate who is run against a rigged system that says, oh, by the way, I want a bunch of elites, superdelegates to overturn the results of the election.
It's his only argument
and give it to me in the course of this. He doesn't want to, and the question he's got to ask himself is, does he want to be part of the Democratic Party like candidates in the previous years, like Hillary Clinton did in 2008, or does he want to leave and start and push this movement outside the party?
What's the answer to that question?
I think the answer is that if Bernie Sanders wants an effect in the long run, he's going to have to start supporting Clinton, because there are already Bernie people out there saying, look, we know that Clinton's going to be the nominee, and we can't risk having Donald Trump as president. If he does that, I think he increases his influence in the party in the long run, because he has built a big movement out there.
You get the last word.
Her speech was important for two reasons, not only because she started to define Donald Trump, but she gave Bernie Sanders the pathway to come to her side of the aisle and coalesce the Democratic Party.
I believe
she laid that out very well.
I think he has more power outside the party than inside. If I were advising him, I'd say stay outside the party.
Okay.